Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Stand by for some old wacky corn this hour as the Johnson Wax program Fibber McGee and Molly. This episode goes back to October 8, 1946. It appears one of Fibber's old bullies is back in town, Bull Moran.
The Johnson Wax program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax products for home and industry present Fibber McGee and Molly with Bill Thompson, Gail Gordon, Arthur Q. Bryan, B. Benaderet, and me, Harlow Wilcox. The script is by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie, music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. Of all the famous faces in history, the face that launched 1,000 ships, the face on the barroom floor, and so on, the most fascinating are to be found in the family photo album. And at 79 Wistful Vista, going over their album and wondering at the marvels of biology, we find Fibber McGee and Molly.
Get a load of this picture, will you? Get a load of it. Uncle Dennis. Got a collar like Hoover, a tummy like Taft, and a mouth like Bilbo.
The photographer must have had a brace around his neck. He certainly looks stiff.
He probably was. Remember the time Doc Gamble gave him a blood test and it come out 97 proof?
Don't be intolerant, dearie. None of us is perfect, you know.
I know, but I never knew a guy who worked so hard at being imperfect as Uncle Dennis. Hey, what's this picture? Looks like a picket line at a screwball factory.
That, my pet, is our class picture.
Oh.
7th grade, Peoria.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the middle of the front row with the catcher's mitt on. And I'm the sweet-looking child right behind you. Miss Fiditch is at the end there.
Well, what do you know? Miss Fiditch, our old school teacher.
And a very thrifty woman.
Yeah.
She used to scrape up the chalk dust and use it for face powder.
I used to hate all those teachers till I found out what they were being paid. Now I know they weren't mean. They were just hungry.
We were certainly a handsome group of kiddies, weren't we?
Yeah.
And isn't this a coincidence? That big Moran boy next to you.
Bull Moran? That jughead?
Yeah.
That muscle-bound bully? You know, we were friends all through school, and I hated him every minute of it.
But the coincidence is that I was just reading
Bull Moran, what a stoop. He had such a big Charlie horse between the ears, he couldn't think up the right answer to roll call.
Why did you hate him so, McGee? What did he do to you that everybody else wanted to and didn't?
He was a bully, and I wasn't. That's why. I was just a jolly, friendly, chubby little fellow, and he used to beat me up every day.
Oh, dear. Why did he pick on you?
Says I was easier on the knuckles than the skinny kids. But I got even with him all right. The day him and his family moved away, I put a skunk in his trunk.
Oh.
Oh, was he mad. He says he'd get me for it if it took 1,000 years.
Well, it won't take that long, dearie, because...
He didn't scare me, though. I waited all day long for that guy to show up. And when he didn't come, I went home.
Where were you waiting for him?
Down by the brewery. In a culvert. It was cooler under there. What were you going to say about him?
Oh, nothing, except that I read in the paper last night that he was here in Wistful Vista on business and to look up some old schoolmates.
Well, he needn't bother looking me up. I hate that guy like... What was that? Bull Moran here in town?
Sure.
Oh, my gosh, Molly. He'll beat the Bajunior. He says he'd get me if it took... That's him now. He's got me. Where's my glasses? Quick. He won't dare hit a guy with glasses on.
Calm yourself, McGee. If that's Bull Moran, he's got much prettier legs than he had in a tracksuit. I saw them coming up the steps. Come in.
It's only I, Mrs. McGee, Elsie Merkel from the Wistful Vista Saloon of Beauty.
Elsie, sis, am I ever glad to see you. Now, have a chair. Now, have two chairs. Take the furniture. Tear off some wallpaper. The joint is yours.
He was expecting somebody else, Elsie.
Gee, and I was just beginning to be flattered. Queen Maria of Bohemia never had a welcome like that. But the reason why I come over here for, Mrs. McGee, was you left your compact in the beauty parlor. Here.
What, again? Why don't you carry your makeup in a stamped addressed envelope, Molly?
Thanks very much, Elsie. I'm sorry to have bothered you about it, but this is my favorite pancake makeup.
Pancake?
Yeah, Mr. McGee. They call it pancake makeup so people won't look at your greasy pan and wonder what's cooking.
How's everything at the beauty parlor, Elsie? Keeping you busy?
I'll say. I spent the whole morning working on Fifi Tremaine, the actress.
Beef Tremaine? Hey, Molly, ain't that the filly that Doc Gamble and the trivia are whinnying at?
That's the one, all right. Say, Elsie, is Miss Tremaine a blonde or a brunette?
Well, she's a decided blonde, Mrs. McGee.
She is, huh?
Yeah, she decided a couple of months ago. Before that, she was dark as the inside of a horse.
Is she pretty glamorous, Elsie?
To a beauty operator such as I am one of, Mrs. McGee, glamour is strictly something that comes out of a jar. I've seen dames come in looking like they just got off a broom. And in 2 hours, they got fellas throwing diamond tiaras at them.
Well, Doc Gamble and the trivia are both trailing her around like a busted garter. Doc's got her fever chart on his desk in a gold frame. And Latrivia gives her a motorcycle escort when she goes out to walk the dog.
Oh, it must be wonderful to have a doctor and a mayor in love with you. One keeps you out of the hospital and the other keeps you out of jail.
Incidentally, Mr. McGee, I heard some news about you today, too.
You did, eh?
What was it, Elsie?
Well, I was giving a lady a henna wrench. And she says she came home from her vacation on a train on which she met a very nice gentleman, which he used to go to school with Mr. McGee in Peoria. And he's going to be here in town, and the first thing he's going to do is to look you up.
You mean Bull Moran? Did he say anything else?
Oh, yes. But just then my assistant slapped a mud pack on the lady's face, which reminds me I got to get back and scrape her off. Goodbye.
You hear that, Molly? Bull Moran is in town, and he's after me. The big bully. My gosh,
now,
he'll...
calm yourself, McGee. My goodness, he
Well,
won't.
if he wants to see me, by George, let him hunt for me. I ain't going to sit around here in the house like a clay pigeon. Where's my hat?
On the hall table.
Where's my glasses? I got to be wearing my glasses.
I don't know, McGee. You haven't worn those glasses
Oh, I got to have my glasses. It's a federal offense to hit a guy with glasses on. And oh, I know where they are. They're right here in the hall.
October 8, 1946, Fibber McGee and Molly on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. No doubt. This is why so many people are joining Medi-Share right now. Medi-Share is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly health care costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. Medi-Share can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. And Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that's worked beautifully for 29 years. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, let's head back to Wistful Vista. October 8th, 1946. More of Fibber McGee and Molly.
My goodness, McGee, I'm tired of walking. Don't you know any streets where the sidewalks are softer?
You'll get your second win in a minute, kiddo. I got to keep circulating.
Why don't we go home, and then if Mr. Moran shows up...
Oh, no, we don't. He's just the type of lint head that'll be after me with a sawed-off shotgun. And a moving target is harder to hit. I know alleys in this town where he'd never think...
Oh, McGee, there's Officer Clancy waving to you.
Where?
Right over there. Take those silly glasses off so you can see.
Okay. But if you spot Moran, let me know so I can put him on again. Oh, hi, Clancy.
Hey, McGee, if it isn't just the laddie I've been after looking for. And how are you today, McCushler? The top of the morning to you.
And the balance of the day to yourself, Mr. Clancy.
Ah, Mavourneen, 'tis yourself that has the soft wind off the lakes of Killarney in her little throat. Sure, and when I hear the likes of you speaking with the voice of the little people, 'tis taking me back to the county clarities with all the...
lay off it. You phony bog trotter. Closest you ever been to cork was the last time you pulled one out with your teeth. What's on your mind, Clancy?
Well, now, me bucko, I've been assigned to this precinct to collect fees for dog licenses. Your dog is a male or a female?
We haven't got a dog, Clancy.
What? You haven't got a dog? A fine thing, so you don't like dogs.
Sure we like dogs. We just don't have
Listen to the man. Him and his wife living in a great big house, and never the room in it for man's best friend. Never knowing the friendly touch of a cold nose. The honest love and devotion of a loyal animal like a dog. Ah, the shame of it.
Yeah, but Mr. Clancy...
And who would it be that waits at the door for you day after day? Never complaining, never criticizing, knowing all your faults and forgiving you for every one of them. Who is it?
Me.
Look, Clancy, I know you're...
disappointed I am in you, McGee. The dirty selfishness of you, you scut. A man that can't spare a warm corner by the fire for a friendly pup.
Yeah, but Mr. Clancy...
But never let it be said that Terence Francis Martin Joseph Clancy was one to stand for such things in his own precinct. How much can you afford to pay for a dog?
What do you mean, how much can we afford to pay?
As it happens, me own dog and a finer half Doberman, half Cocker Spaniel never bit a milkman. She had pups this very day, and to give him a home and the love of a good man, I'm letting you have one for $35.
Yeah, but we don't...
Quiet, Mavourneen. 'Tis not a cent more will I take. 'Tis like selling me own child, it is. And breaks the heart of me to part with it. I'll be over tonight.
Now, wait a minute.
That'll be 35 for the pup and 3 for the license. Good day to you. And 'tis proud I am to know such dog lovers as yourself.
Oh, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Yeah, to say nothing of a Doberman stepfather. Look, McGee, I'm going into Kramer's drugstore a minute. I've got to sit down a while.
Okay, you go in first and look around. If Bull Moran is in there, give me a signal.
All right. If you see me in the front window turning cartwheels, he's in there. If I add a handspring and double back somersault, it'll mean that...
Oh, cut it out, Molly. I'm serious. See him any place?
No, I don't, dearie. I think you're safe. My goodness, you're as nervous as a cow in deer season.
Wait till I look around. If Bull Moran knows I'm in
Oh,
here.
McGee, look who's right behind
Drop
you.
that gun, Moran. Don't you lay a finger on me. Oh, hi, Junior. I thought you were somebody else.
Gee whiz, pal, you're shaking like a jellied consomme. What's the matter with you?
Well, an old school chum of McGee's is in town, Mr. Wilcox. He's looking for McGee, and McGee doesn't want to see him.
If he catches up with me, Junior, he'll take me apart like a Sunday paper.
You mean this feud has lasted since your school days?
Yeah.
Since the 7th grade in Peoria, Mr. Wilcox. When this boy moved away from town, himself here put a skunk in his trunk. A rather novel going-away present, you'll admit.
The dirty bully. It served him right after the way he used to beat me up on the way to school every day.
Hey, you want me to stick around with you, pal? Between us, we can lay this guy colder than an Eskimo's mucklucks.
I don't know, Junie. He's awful big.
I don't remember him as being so big, McGee.
Oh, you don't, eh? You never looked at him with your eyes full of knuckles. He used to paste me so hard.
Hey, speaking of paste, I've got to call the office.
Huh?
We're expecting a big shipment of Johnson's paste wax.
Okay, but as I was saying, Junior, this guy used to hit me with
The
every...
paste wax is making a terrific hit around Wistful Vista, you know, the way it protects and preserves and beautifies floors, furniture, windowsills, and luggage. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, we know, Mr. Wilcox, but this big bully that McGee...
That's what I was saying. Johnson's paste wax does such a bully job of guarding wood and leather and enamel surfaces against dust and dampness, protecting it against almost...
Yes. We know. But that don't protect me against Bull Moran.
Against who, pal?
Bull Moran, Mr. Wilcox. That's the brute McGee is dodging.
Well, why didn't you say so? I was just talking to him about you.
What? Where is he? Where is he?
In the back of the store, in the phone booth. He'll be out in a minute, I guess. and
McGee, come back here. McGee! Hold it, McGee. I can't run another block. Heavenly days. Let's sit on this park bench a minute.
Okay. You face that way and I'll face this way. I don't want to get caught unawares.
McGee, I'll do no more dodging. I'm worn out. We've covered this town like a January snow. If you keep this up, people will think you're afraid to face Bull Moran.
I know one guy who already thinks I'm afraid.
Who?
Me. Look, Snooky, a guy like Moran don't swear revenge on a guy like me and then follow his trail for all these years just to show him pictures of the wife and kids. This is a dangerous situation. It's fraught.
Yes,
Ah, there, McGee.
Oh, no, you don't, Moran. Put that knife down. You can't. Oh. Hi, Doc. I thought you were somebody else. Can't see very good with these glasses on.
And why do you wear them, you little ignoramus? Most people don't wear glasses when they should. It's even more stupid to wear them when you don't have to. But who am I to talk to an expert on stupidity?
It's for protection, Doctor. One of his old enemies is after him.
Yeah, he don't dare hit me when I got glasses on.
Well, that's an interesting theory. Were you ever a railroad man, McGee?
No, he wasn't, Doctor.
Why, Aerosmith? What made you think I was a railroad man?
I just wondered. So many of your motives are loco.
Well, I don't think it's very strange now to want to get your head kicked off, Doctor. Incidentally, you have a bit of a feud on yourself, haven't you?
Who, me?
Oh, don't give us that who me routine, fatso. You know what she's talking about. Latrivia beating your time with Fifi Tremaine.
My dear boy, when you speak the name of Miss Tremaine, I'd advise you to keep a civil tongue in your tiny little head.
Oh, he didn't mean any disrespect, Doctor, I'm sure.
Why, certainly not, Capsule Happy.
Well.
And don't make any threats to me, too, either. I could tie your oversized neck in a lover's knot before you could say Robinson Crusoe.
You mean Jack Robinson?
I can spot him 3 syllables and still do it.
Relax, Super Mouse. Remember, I am familiar with every weary corpuscle in your weird little body, and you don't own a muscle that has the tensile strength of a poached egg. You have the reaction time of a leaking molasses jug and the nervous system of a pinball machine. Tilted.
Yeah, but listen
Your
here.
coordination is that of a sack of potato chips, and you haven't the stamina to hold your ticket stub through the newsreel.
That sounds awful. I wonder who his doctor is.
Touché, my dear. Touché.
Now that I resent. I don't wear a touché, and you know it. I got as much hair now as I had when I was 16, and by George...
Skip it, bird brain. I haven't time to bandy words any further. If your old friend catches up with you, maybe we can all get together tonight. I'll make your reservation.
Where, Doctor?
In the fracture ward. Good luck with it, Bellmouth.
Hurry up, Molly. Let's get in the house and... What you got?
A note. It was pinned to the door.
Bring it inside. That's it.
Oh, it's for Mr. Moran. Listen, it says, "Remember me? You were out, but I'll be back." Signed, Bull Moran.
Well, it's gotta come, it's gotta come. I'll fight him.
Good for you.
If I have to. I'll fight him square and fair. Where's my ball bat? I gotta have my ball bat.
It's merely trivia, dearie. Come in. Hello, Mr. Mayor. Come right in.
Thank you, Molly. Hello, McGee.
How you been, Latriv? I haven't seen you lately.
No, I've been extremely busy lately, McGee. Civic meetings, things of that sort.
You were having a little argument with that bar association of yours, weren't you? How did that come out?
Oh, I haven't seen her since I met Miss Tremaine. I stopped going to Joe's place. Oh, that bar association.
That's the one we meant, yes.
Oh, yes. Well, we reached an agreement.
That's good. Personally, I'm glad to hear you haven't been dating anyone else since you met Fifi.
Thank you. I wish I could say the same for her.
As the guy said when he saw the baby take a hammer to his watch, is somebody beating your time, Latriv?
I'd rather not discuss it, if you don't mind, McGee.
Of course not, McGee. Naturally, His Honor doesn't want to talk about it if Dr. Gamble's moving in on him.
Okay. But I predicted this, you know. I predicted that when Gamble moved in, she'd drop Latriv like a hot Secretary of Commerce.
I have not been dropped. Like a hot anything. For your information, McGee, I have just advised Miss Tremaine to make up her mind between Dr. Gamble and myself.
Boy, is your neck out.
I have invited her to the football game tomorrow. I have tickets on the 50-yard line. But it now seems that she would prefer going with Dr. Gamble because she can ride in the ambulance. Does that sound like sense?
No, but it sounds like a woman, Your Honor.
I can only take so much. I wouldn't take her to the football game now if she came to me on bended knees and beseeched me to please take her.
I'm not here, Molly. Tell that mug I'm out of town.
I won't tell the man a deliberate lie, McGee.
Well, shall I get it?
Yes, you get it.
Yeah. Hello? Yes. Yes, this is Chucky. Oh, Phoebe. What? You will go to the game with me? Wonderful. What? Yes. Of course we can ride out there on the fire engine.
The conclusion of Fibber McGee and Molly from October 8, 1946 follows these words on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Fibber McGee and Molly, October 8th, 1946.
Yes, Phoebe. I'll see you tomorrow. And that was... that was Miss Tremaine. Good day.
Boy, oh boy, is he ever loopy. Look at that guy go up the sidewalk, Molly. His feet aren't even touching the pavement.
Ah, love. You know, what are you doing with the ball bat, McGee?
I'm putting it away. I'm not going to use it, Molly. Fight or no fight.
Good for you.
I found the length of gas pipe.
No, now, McGee, it's ridiculous for two grown men.
Who is it? Who is it? Can you see?
No, but talk to him.
No.
I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Surely he won't hit a woman and...
Sure. We'll both talk to him. Stand right up here. Come in. Oh, what do you want, Bud? We don't need any magazines.
Oh, I'm not selling anything, sir. I'm looking for a Mr. McGee.
Yeah? Well, I'm McGee.
I thought you were. I'm Richard Moran. Bull Moran. Remember?
My goodness.
Well, for the love
Nobody calls me Bull anymore, of course. I must have been awfully big for my age in those days, because you know something? I never grew an inch after the 7th grade.
You didn't grow, eh? Well, what do you know about that? Am I glad to see you?
Oh, thank you.
I've been looking all over town for you, Moran.
Yes?
Step right out in the yard here. Remember the time you put that mouse up my pants leg and tied the cuffs together?
McGee, now don't...
And the time you nailed my shoes to the floor?
Oh, dear, McGee! McGee, don't! Let the man up, McGee! No! Mr. Moran, whatever happened with the skunk himself here put in your trunk?
Yeah. I heard you were pretty sore about that, Bull.
Oh, yes, at first. But we collected $500 damage from the moving company for that. Father invested it and made his first $1 million.
Heavenly days. What are you doing for a living now, Mr. Moran?
Oh, nothing. For several years, I spent my time endowing all my old schoolmates. $100,000 apiece. I wrote to McGee several times, but he never answered.
Is Is it too late now, Bull?
I'm afraid so. What with taxes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax Products for home and industry, inviting you to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
October 8th, 1946, Fibber McGee and Molly on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, time to start a brand new Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story. This one goes back to October 8th, 1956, part 1 of the 5-part Primrose Matter of Yours Truly Johnny Dollar.
From Hollywood, it's time now for
Johnny Dollar.
Brad Taylor, Johnny, Mid-States Industrial.
Oh, hiya, Brad. Caught another chief accountant with his hand in the till.
Nope, this is an old case, Johnny. 3 weeks old anyway. It's that Kansas City payroll stick-up.
Uh-huh.
We were right. It was a Jipper Nixon gang.
How do you figure?
Well, as you know, there's been an APB out on him, wanted for questioning ever since he disappeared the day after the holdup.
Yeah, I know, Brad.
He was recognized last night in Phoenix, Arizona. State Highway Police threw up roadblocks. They tagged him south of Tucson, just north of the Mexican border.
They get him?
If they had, I wouldn't be calling you. He shot his way clear, but they killed one of his boys, Ronnie Bledsoe.
He'll never be missed. So Jipper's still on the loose, huh?
Yep, along with that $100,000 payroll insured by us. I gotta get that money back, Johnny.
All right, Brad. I'll fly out there and find it for you.
But watch yourself. Every minute. Those hoods are 3-time killers.
I thought it was 2.
3 now. They killed a state trooper at that roadblock.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Home Office, Mid-States Industrial Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Primrose Matter. Item 1, $142.80, incidentals in Hartford and transportation to Tucson, Arizona, where I checked into a hotel. Then I contacted the highway police and presented my credentials to Lieutenant Cal Mervyn, who was directing the all-out search for the Nixon gang. Lieutenant Mervyn had been at the roadblock.
They call us flat-footed, Dollar. That's how they happen to get away with it.
How do you mean, Lieutenant?
We flashed the red light on them, and they slowed down and rolled up to us like they were going to stop. The car was a different make from the one they'd supposedly been seen in. We found later they'd stolen another one in Phoenix.
I see.
Then when we threw the spot on them, we saw just the one man, the driver. Turned out the others were down on the floor.
How many were in the car?
4, apparently. 3 afterward. I shot one of them. They threw his body out a half-mile down the road. I may have hit another one. I'm not sure.
That figures. A tip-off from Kansas City named Jipper, Nixon, Ronnie Bledsoe, and 2 unidentified.
Yeah, and Bledsoe's the one who was killed. Nixon and the other 2 got through.
You said they slowed down as though they were going to stop. What happened?
Oh, there's no excuse, Mr. Dollar. We were careless, that's all. But you get so many false alarms, mistaken IDs. And to make a car, the whole setup, it didn't seem to fit.
You can't be wound up ready to pitch all the time.
Well, we paid for it, Ben with his life. I was luckier. I got off with this bullet burn on the side of my head.
Hey, you never know.
Checked. Well, anyway, the boys on the floor of the car came up shooting. One of them with a Tommy gun.
They used the Tommy gun in the stick-up. That's how the 2 guards in the armored truck were killed.
It's a rough weapon, Mr. Dollar. Ben dropped on the first burst from it. Didn't even know what hit him. I got this scratch from a pistol bullet. Saved my life, I guess. It flattened me before the Tommy gun picked me up. Then the driver slammed into second, and they skidded past on the shoulder. I hauled up my gun and emptied it at him before I passed out. Hitting that fellow Bledsoe was sheer luck.
Any trace of them at all since they broke clear?
No. They had a little luck themselves. As I said, I passed out. And it was 20 minutes before a car came along the highway. Or before one stopped, anyway. I think several probably passed, scared to get mixed up in something.
Oh, that's understandable.
Then the fellow that picked me up took me 15 miles up the road to an emergency first aid station. All in all, it was over an hour before the report got to Highway Patrol headquarters and they could get new blocks set up.
And Nixon and his boys could have covered a lot of ground by then.
Sure, that's it. Here's a map of the southern Arizona area from here to the border. Here's where they hit us. We had the roadblock there at the junction.
I see.
From there south to the border, there's no through road branching off, just some dead-enders. Or like the Arivaca road that loop back and connect into the highway again.
What about the border, Lieutenant?
According to the Mexican customs officials at Nogales, the car didn't show up there. And I'm inclined to buy that. With the rear window shot full of bullet holes, it would have been pretty conspicuous.
And as I understand it, it hasn't turned up anywhere else.
Nope, so far we haven't been able to find it.
Of course, they had the advantage of an hour's head start.
Well, that's it, Mr. Dollar. They could have doubled back. It could be in New Mexico, northern Arizona, California, 1,000 places.
On the other hand, though, they couldn't have known they'd have that hour's start.
What do you mean?
Well, they couldn't have known they'd killed your partner and left you unconscious. You were still shooting at them when they gunned away from that roadblock. All they could reasonably suppose was that you'd be reporting in by radio 2 minutes later.
What are you getting at, Mr. Dollar?
Well, if that's what they did suppose, then they wouldn't try any doubling back. And yet they didn't reach the border down here at Nogales.
But there's no through road that connects into that 20-mile stretch of highway.
All right, so maybe they're still bottled up right in that section.
I don't see how. We've been over it half a dozen times. In cars, horseback, helicopter. We're still checking it. I'm just about ready to cross it off.
Logic says that's the most probable place they'd be.
Can logic find them, Mr. Dollar?
It might. Combined with a whole lot of luck.
You got something in mind?
I don't know. I was wondering if a civilian, so to speak, might have a better chance of stumbling onto them. They'd be on the lookout for the official search parties.
You being the civilian?
That's what I sort of had in mind.
They're pretty rough lads.
Hey, tell me something. Do you get a lot of rock hounds around here, amateur geologists, uranium hunters?
If you're not careful, they jump out from behind the cactus and stake a claim on your watch dial.
Easterners, some of them, I suppose. Tenderfeet, I guess you'd call them.
Not some of them, most of them.
Then one more wouldn't exactly create a sensation.
No, he wouldn't even be noticed. Is that the angle you're thinking of?
Unless you know a better one.
No, it's not bad.
Well, do you know where I can get fixed up with an outfit?
Go to Dave Bright's Sporting Goods on South Stone Avenue. He'll give you that dude look about as cheap as anybody. Just tell him I sent you.
All right.
And, don't get too far away from civilization, Mr. Dollar.
Any special reason?
Yeah. I may want to contact you to let you know the Nixon gang's been picked up in Portland or in Butte, Montana.
Maybe. But I wouldn't count on it. Expense account item 2, $446.35 for a deluxe rockhound rig, complete from buckskin field boots to sleeping bag, snakebite serum, and a Geiger counter, and including 5 days' rental on a four-wheel drive Jeep. With that kind of a get-up, anybody'd have to find uranium just to break even. But at least I figured I was equipped for any possible eventuality, so I headed into the wilds. And the first spot I decided to prospect was around 20 miles north of the border, 50 yards back off the highway. It was known to the local inhabitants as Jake's Bar and Grill. The bar was a warped plank counter with rickety wooden stools. The grill seemed to consist of a rack of stale sandwiches wrapped in wax paper. But it looked as though Jake himself might be pay dirt.
Howdy, stranger.
What do you say?
Save your money and buy beer.
That's a good idea, but I think I'll have a scotch this time.
Even better idea.
Have something yourself?
You paying for it?
Yeah, I might at that.
Well, then I'll just have me a little of this foreign hooch. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, here's biting a rattlesnake.
Check. Scotch.
Well, you figuring to find yourself some of that there uranium, are you?
Yeah, might. How'd you guess?
Them duds you're wearing come from Dave Bright's place. Sunday mining clothes, we call them. No offense.
Oh, I'm hard to offend. The name's Johnny Dollar, Mr.
Jake Meager. Jake's enough, though. Everybody knows him for that. Been around here a long time.
Oh, then you know this country pretty well, I imagine.
Well, enough to tell you that if you find a fresh, square foot, one where somebody ain't already been looking, then you're doing better than most tenderfeet. No offense there. It's just a way of talking.
Well, I guess you call this a vacation, too. I don't really care much whether I find anything or not. It's just a chance to see some new country.
Well, I reckon you could call some of this more or less new once you get away from that there highway.
Oh, and how do you go about doing that?
You mean by car, I guess. Easterners ain't much on walking.
Well, I have one with a four-wheel drive.
It'll get you a mile or two further, but that's about all. Only way to do it's on foot.
You're probably right. But I'd start by car, at least. Which side road would I take if I wanted to get lost?
Around here, you mean?
Yeah. Anywhere along the highway between the junction and the border.
Well, as a matter of fact, you wouldn't have much choice. There's 6, 7 passable roads, but they don't lead no place except to ranches. Don't even get up in the foothills. You ain't getting a mite dry again, are you?
Oh, sure. Funnel both up again.
Well, much obliged to you, Mr. Dollar.
How much?
Well, there'll always be an England, like the fellow says.
Check.
Oh, yeah, about them roads. Now, the only one that might fit the bill for you is Santa Rita Summit Road.
Oh, I think I remember that on the map.
Yeah, on the map. Well, it leaves the highway about 3 miles down, then runs 14 miles back up into the Santa Rita mountain range.
It doesn't connect on through?
No, dead ends, couple of miles past Primrose Camp. None of these here roads go no place. That's what I've been telling them state police for 2 days. They've been looking for some stick-up fellas. I reckon you heard about that.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Why, them fellas would be out of their minds to take one of them there side roads. Ain't no place they could go to on them.
Oh, it sounds logical, all right.
You ask me, them fellas jumped the border somehow. That's how come they was down here in this part of the country to begin with.
Oh, you're probably right, Jake. Anyhow, you think this Summit Road might get me off the beaten path, huh?
Well, it's your best bet around here. It climbs up into the pines. It hits 6,000 feet at Primrose Camp. It's in good shape, too. Used to haul ore out over it a few years back.
There are mines up in there?
No. They're all worked out now. Oh, few little high graders scratching for pennies. But the big stuff's gone, for the time being at least. Some folks figure it'll come back, but I ain't one of them.
Well, what is this Primrose Camp?
Pop Bardell's place, named after the old Primrose mine.
Yeah, but what is it?
Well, mixture of things. Why, Pop's probably been making more money there than he would if the mines did come back. He's got a filling station and half a dozen flimsy tourist cabins, lunch counter that his missus runs, little grocery store and souvenir shop his daughter Jenny takes care of. Oh, got a lot of things making income for him.
What about customers with a place 14 miles up a dead-end road?
Well, he gets a few. Enough. Picnickers and tourists in the summertime, hunters in winter, and fellows like you all year round come looking for this uranium stuff. He ain't got much expense, neither. It's all in the family, you see. And now he's got a new hand to help, starting today.
That's so?
Yeah, he come down this afternoon and get the mail. You see, the bus stops and drops it off here with me, and Pop comes down every day and picks it up. I figure he likes a chance to get out of sight of the missus for an hour. Sent this boy today.
This new hand he's taken on.
Well, not exactly a hand. He's Pop's nephew, so he said. Comes out of Tulsa yesterday.
Oh, I see.
Funny thing, though, he sure didn't have any Oklahoma accent.
Jake, how old a boy is he?
Well, hard to say. Between 25 and 30, maybe. A real close mouth sort of fella. Couldn't hardly get a word out of him.
Uh-huh.
Nothing told like Pop. Why, that old fella talk a leg off you if you go up there. Before you can open your mouth, he'll sell you a tank of gas, 2 quarts of oil you don't need, some genuine phony ore samples, and rent you a couple of them cabins of his.
Well, thanks for the warning, Jake. I'll be ready for it.
Well, good luck, Mr. Dollar. Whatever it is you're hunting.
What do you mean?
Seen a lot of tenderfeet come hunting uranium, but you're the first one that wore a shoulder holster with a gun in it. No offense, you understand.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, a talkative man freezes, a taciturn man thaws. But a dead man can't do either. All he can do is be dead. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
That's part one of the five-part yours truly Johnny Dollar story, The Primrose Matter, from October 8th, 1956, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A lot of our shows are available from my friend Ted at RadioMemories.com. He supplies shows on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer. That's RadioMemories.com. Tell him I sent you by, won't you please? Please thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allow us to come to you each and every time here. We'll roll around here on your favorite radio station. Now, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss one single show. All of our shows are available on demand at my webpage, which is at classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows on demand. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can learn how to build a collection of your own. You can find links where you can download our shows from. You can contact me there. You can find our social media links, and you can also buy me a coffee. And I don't know how much of that I repeated, but the buy me a coffee link always deserves to be repeated, because the money that you give us through Buy Me a Coffee helps us to acquire additional classic radio collections to bring for you here. Acquire classic radio collections. Can you tell the mouth is not working? Can you tell that I'm ready to go? But the webpage that you can go to is at classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the guy who cannot talk today, on your favorite radio station.